Hey guys, Boris here. Just wanted to do a little bit of a quicker video today. Last recording actually went a little bit longer than I would have liked, but today we're just going to cover two quick things. First of all, we have a little bit of just a update as far as what we now know as far as the Hoenn event that we didn't know before the event started. Just little detail things to cover there. And then we're going to go over Phoebus this. We have that special research event going on this coming Saturday. We got a few tips and little bit more information for you. Should make it a lot easier for you to actually really get the most out of that event, 3 hour event. So let's get to it. Hoenn, big follow up 7 km eggs. We now have Absol, Mawile, and Nkata confirmed for it. In addition, we still have the babies from the previous event in, so you can still go after your Mantike, Munchlax, Riolu. So, 7K eggs, very big all of a sudden, because we actually have a lot of really interesting ones. Remember, Absol and Mawile can be shiny, and in Nkata, we've only actually seen through research quests before. So for anyone who didn't get enough Nincada to evolve one, or who didn't get one at all during that when they were available in research, well, now we actually have a chance to do that. So with that in mind, let's take a look at the next topic there, raids. Anytime they do an event, they typically shuffle the raid bosses. So let's take a look at what we have now. Tier 1, Shuppet, Duskull, Plusle, Minoon, and Wingull. You know, None of them terribly exciting for any other reason than they can all potentially be shinies, and really that's why they're all in there. Or none of them really have too much use in anything that you might use them for. So really, the tier ones are much more for the shiny hunters this cycle. Tier 2, of course, you have the Tier 2 staple of Mawile in there, which can be shiny, as well as Sableye back in the mix, which can also be shiny. Kirlia, evolved from Ralts. Ralts, along with the other three Tier 2 on the list, Combuskin, Grovyle, Marshtomp, these are all lines that are most likely going to get a community day at some point. The three starter evolutions, Combuskin, Grovyle, Marshtomp, they're pretty much a given, and then most likely at some point we'll see Ralts as well in the mix. But with Combuskin, Grovyle, and Marshtomp, really those last two, Grovyle and Marshtomp, definitely if they follow the pattern with Community Day moves and give them Frenzy Plant and Hydro Cannon, those two, their evolutions could potentially be very big mix-ups in the meta. Marshtomp with Hydro Cannon potentially your go-to water type behind Kyogre, or actually dethroning for Alligator a little relatively quickly within about 6 months. And then Grovyle, well, more than likely will be part of the March Community Day. We should, for March, see Trico. And with Frenzy Plant, Sceptile, well, he is a little bit glassier. He doesn't have the same survivability as, say, Venusaur with Frenzy Plant will. He does have a higher DPS, and he will actually become the new highest DPS if he gets Frenzy Plant. So, definitely we have a few good meta relevant ones in the mix in those tier twos. So if you don't have a few really good ones stashed up for those lines, good opportunity to go grab those. Tier three, probably the least exciting of the tier lineups that we have. Solrock, Lunatone, Claydol, and Crawdaunt. You know, oh, Lunatone, Claydol, Crawdaunt, ones that probably most people do already have. Solrock, before they flipped it with Lunatone, actually was available in North America, so a lot of people already have that one. If you started playing after Solrock and Lunatone flipped, this is your chance to grab the one that you don't have. Neither one typically very useful for anything, but definitely just if you are missing that dex entry, you have a chance now with this. And then Tier 4, again, not a terribly exciting lineup this time around. Aggron, of course, is a staple in tier fours and just very overused Pokemon. Isn't really good for just about anything. Some people throw it in as a gym defender, with a double weakness in the mix there. It's not actually that good for that. and because its attack stat is so low, it's overused very heavily in raids. A lot of people throw it in because it gets suggested a lot by the game just because of its resistances, but it doesn't actually do much damage at all, and usually you're not contributing much to a raid if you're using them. Shrifty, grass dark type, not terribly useful for too much. Absol, it's in there mostly because the shiny chance. That's again now though you do have an alternate way to get it with being in raids. It's also in the past been a research reward as well, as from a field research. And then rounding out tier 4, Metagross. Metagross, because the ones in the raids don't have access to Meteor Mash, not terribly useful. What is useful about it in Tier 4, though, is the fact that you can actually turn around, throw a Pineapple at if you get it on a Pineapple, then you actually get 20 candy because it's a stage 2, it's a top stage evolution. So, great way to get extra candy to power up any Meteor Mash Metagross that you do have. So that's where that comes into play. The ones that you're actually going to get from the raids if you catch it, if you have Meteor Mash Metagross, you don't need non-Meteor Mash Metagross. That's just unfortunately the way it is with the moveset it has normally. And then, of course, Tier 5, Groudon and Kyogre, both of which can be shinies. Had an opportunity to get out to a few raids last night. I didn't in the raid group I was with see any shiny Kyogres, but we did see several shiny Groudons in the raids that we did. So that was really exciting to see. A lot of people super stoked about that. Hopefully if you haven't had a chance to get out to some raids, hopefully you're getting a chance during this event to get out because we have seen a lot of people coming out to raids that haven't been in raids for a while, simply because these two Pokemon are so valuable and are so exciting, especially with the shinies. You know, and then the last bit of the Hoenn follow-up, research quests. We only actually got 3 new research quests, and really, I'm only a big fan of one of them. You know, for start out with, Evolve 3 Wurmple will get you a Trap Inch. If for some weird reason you're one of the few people who hasn't been hatching almost nothing but Trap Inch from 10k eggs and don't already have a couple of good ones, or just don't have a lot of candy for it, you have some opportunity there. Or, Flygon, very viable in Great League PvP, but outside of that, it doesn't really have much use. Hatch 2 eggs, gets you Nose Pass. You know, Probopass could potentially have some viability in PvP, but does have some concerning weaknesses to it that definitely I think will impede that a little bit. We'll see how it plays out when it's released. But again, another one that's not super going to be super exciting for most people. And then the one that I actually do like, just because I will always take more Stardust, catch 10 Zigzagoon or Talo. The reality is you're probably clicking on every single one of these that you can just to see if you can get the shiny. Go ahead and catch them if you have this research quest. Gets you 1,000 Stardust. So big Stardust payoff for that one, especially if you have a star piece running when you collect it. Gets you an extra 500 there. I mean, that's a no-brainer. That one definitely worth the Stardust. Most valuable resource in the game. Aim right there. So I'm excited about that one. The other two, honestly, not so much. Now, let's look at something that I am personally very excited about. The Feebas Research event going on this coming Saturday from 1 p.m. to 4 p.m. CST Central Time. You know, we know from data miners, Trails being the biggest of them, that we have 4 researches that are going to be a part of it. Earn 1 buddy candy, you hatch an egg, make a certain number of nice throws. Usually it's 3, but we'll see what it is. It's a placeholder value in the system now. And then make a certain number of great throws. So again, most likely 3, but we'll see how it ends up. You know, with these in mind, I like the fact that they kept the researches fairly simple for it. There's particularly one in there I'm not going to be thrilled if it comes up a lot, and that's the hatch and egg, is that one is potentially one that could take a while to do. And if you have access to enough Pokestops, that's probably one you're just gonna want to toss out. Try to get a different research, try to get one of the throw ones. So, with this event, you have 3 hours to complete as many of these research tasks as you can. So let's take a look at what you want to do to maximize that. First of all, before the event, if you can, try to clear out any 5 km or larger eggs from your egg group. Ideally you try to start stockpiling 2K eggs because those 2K eggs you'll be able to burn through them much quicker. So if you do wind up getting that research a lot, uh, you know, try to get a bunch of 2K eggs and then try to stagger them in incubators if you're throwing multiple in at once. That way, if you stagger them, you don't hatch all of them at the same time, and that's going to so if you do get that quest, you can hatch one, quickly move on. If you get that quest again, you already have one that's almost ready to go, so you're not needing to walk an extra 2 or an extra 1.3 kilometers if you're using super incubators. Another big thing too, and this is one I feel like a lot of people are probably going to overlook. If you are walking a buddy Pokemon right now that is taking more than 1 kilometer to get a candy, a lot of people walking Meltan or walking another legendary that's a 20-kilometer buddy, you probably want to toss it. uh, Go ahead and swap it out for something that only takes 1 kilometer, because if you do start running into the issue where that's what you're getting largely from stops, you're going to want a buddy Pokemon that's going to turn over candy very quickly. So what's going to do that? It's going to be some fairly common ones. Pidgey, Magikarp, Starly, Geodude, Swablu, Wailmer. You know, these are all ones that only take 1 kilometer. So if you do get that event, you can actually roll that quest over fairly easy. If you're using something that takes 3, 5, or 20, it's going to be very difficult. So you're going to end up just wanting to toss that one in favor of trying to get more of the throw quests. But definitely just you can certainly maximize your odds and maximize how many researches you're getting out by making sure that you do have your buddy Pokemon set to a more appropriate one for the event. If you're in the middle of a candy cycle, try to clear it out, but then get that last little bit of candy and then swap it out. Then after the event, go ahead and swap in your normal buddy again. And then, last but not least, stock up on regular Pokeballs. Because of the nice and great throws, you know, great way to do it is to stack any regular research encounters you get, Vulpix, things like that, things that are relatively easy to get good throws on. Because research encounters don't actually run away, it's possible for you to go ahead and just, let's say for the sake of argument, that they make those quests 3 nice throws or 3 great throws. You can knock that out in one Pokemon if it breaks out, because know it's not going to run away and you don't actually have to move to do it. And then outside of that, looking for ones that are just very easy to get those throws on, and using red Pokeballs. If they break out, great, you get another shot just to throw another nice or another great throw. Clear it out very quick, so those quests will turn over very quickly as long as you make sure you got the supplies to do it. And that's just about it. We what we don't know is how common shiny Phoebus is going to be. It could be very common. It could be very uncommon. Big question too, is it going to function like the shinies did for Squirrel Community Day, where the same stop that gives a shiny gives it that shiny to everyone, or is it going to be random? We don't know. And there are pros and cons to both. you know, we're going to find out one way or the other on Saturday, and I'm sure it's going to be figured out fairly quickly by the community. I'm sure it'll start showing up on places like the Silph Road. It'll show up on Twitter, things like that once it's known. Kind of once that first region actually gets through theirs, we should have a better indication Saturday. So, just keep your ears to the ground on the news sources. Keep an eye on your local discords, local Facebook groups, you know, Twitter if you're following different groups. oops, or different pages that talk about it. I'm sure you'll see it there. Or, those are kind of the last pieces of information that we really just do not have at this time for the event, but we do, courtesy of data miners, know the majority of it. We know how to prepare for it. Nothing too crazy. So that's all I really wanted to get through tonight. You know, I hope everyone's enjoying those new raid bosses. I had a lot of fun last night. I'm hoping to get out quite a bit this weekend for them. I actually have a rare full weekend where I actually have the ability to do so, so I'm going to be out there quite a bit enjoying it. I hope everyone else is having fun with this event so far. It's been pretty good to us. There's a lot of fun things, a lot of new things with it. I do like the fact with this Feebas event that they're experimenting a little bit more with events, not just throwing out kind of the same exact cookie cutter template. They're trying different things. Tip of the hat to Niantic for that, finding new ways to keep things interesting. I'm excited for it, and I will see you next video.